Hey friends, it's me Feliciel, and today I wanted to share with you all my Inktober drawings for 2021. So I've recorded all of them, and I knew I wanted to add a little extra thing to make this compilation of speed drawings more interesting, and that's when I decided to add a little voiceover to discuss various things about Inktober. Because, oh boy, there's a lot to say about it. So firstly, let me explain to you what Inktober exactly is, because I still haven't made that really clear and I don't want to ramble for like 30 minutes without having people understand what I'm even talking about. So Inktober is a monthly long daily art challenge in the month of October, where you make an ink drawing and post it online for the 31 days of the month. But those rules can be bent since it is just a challenge. You can make it digitally, with color, make it half the month, take breaks, or decide to not post it online and keep it on to yourself. All of these are completely fine. So let's start off by talking about the controversies, because that's the fun part. So the creator of this Inktober challenge is called Jake Parker. From what Wikipedia says, Jake Parker is an American comics short story creator, concept artist, illustrator, and animator, and Parker used to work as a set designer for Blue Sky Studios. So now let me give you a little bit of background. He started this challenge in 2009 as a way to practice his inking skills and develop a positive drawing habit. So the first issue I have with him is that he spoke out against people doing Inktober digitally, which honestly, just let people be. This is just a mindless art challenge to improve your own skills. So stop being butthurt, because he basically said that inking is harder and you should go back to traditional art. He did though later on take back his statement, but it still feels weird with me. It just feels like, did he really need to discourage people to do just this innocent art challenge, basically? So then comes the biggest issue. Back in 2019, so it's fairly recent, he decided to trademark Inktober, which has led to some cease and desists being sent to some artists. But since Inktober is now the most popular art challenge out there, many artists released art books with collections of their Inktober work, and they have to take down their signs and books, even though they did it a couple years ago. Jake Parker also made it very clear that your sketchbook is not allowed to be called Inktober 2021, for example, nor use the logo of Inktober. But the thing is, Inktober got popular because a lot of artists were participating and using the hashtags and tagging him. But now they're being penalized for having done that by not allowing them to sell their own artwork. It's like he only wants himself to get the money out of Inktober. And then the last controversy that's also linked to the previous one is his book Inktober All Year Long. So the book was released in 2020, and that's why he did indeed trademark the term Inktober. But before it was published, some pages were shown online, and it became a real shitstorm. Basically what happened is that people started to realize that some of the pages, if not all of them, seemed very familiar. And that was because it was very, very, very similar to Alfonso Dunn's art book called Pen and Ink Drawing. And don't get me wrong, it's fine to borrow ideas and develop them on your own from other people, but having the exact same phrasing, the same examples, and the same chapter order, you're kind of pushing it, Parker. I really highly recommend that you go watch Alfonso Dunn's video about this. I'll have it linked in the description, where he really explains everything of why he thinks it's not cool to have done that. It is a bit of a long video, but it's worth the watch. I also remember when the book was being released of Jake Parker, people were like, on the day of, everybody should buy Alfonso Dunn's book on Amazon so that Parker's book won't be on the homepage. to be one of the best-selling books, basically. And I thought that that was a pretty funny thing. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to demonize Jake Parker. He did invent a very great art challenge that allowed a lot of artists to rise on Instagram and get more popular and finding their audience, because it was very popular and everybody would go check out the hashtags and see them. It feels to me that he just got a bit too greedy, that's all. And I don't own any of either Alfonso Dunn's art book nor Jake Parker's, so I guess this is just like allegedly, you know. But it just raises the question of, you know, intellectual property and how can you actually keep it. So I'm gonna close off the controversy chapter of this video, and I want to talk about the benefits of Inktober, because it's not all bad. So Inktober really allows you to have this daily practice, and it's not old news that drawing every day helps you a lot to improve. And it does hold you accountable if you post it on social media, because you will know that people expect of you to post daily. I know that for myself, it helped me, especially this year, to finish the challenge completely. Because trust me, I would have abandoned like at the end of the first week, because it's not an easy challenge. Also, going back to traditional art, even though you don't have to, you can do it digitally with color, black and white, etc., as we already talked. But I decided for myself to go back to traditional art because I really haven't had fun with my pens and inks in quite some time. And since I've been focusing on making like digital illustrations or random pencil sketches in my sketchbook, I thought it would be really nice to go back and do fully finished illustrations or like designs that I want to put more effort in, because it's really something I tend to forget to do. Also, I just really want to quickly talk about the fact that you shouldn't also burn yourself out just for the sake of finishing the art challenge. Quite a lot of people, when they skip a couple of days, or like some of them decide to not draw on weekends, you can finish it like in mid-November to just catch up what you haven't done, or you can just decide to do less days of the challenge and finish on the 31st like the others. It's just important to not drown yourself under the pressure of this art challenge, because if you go on social media and see all the other artists making really amazing art, and you're here struggling to find a really nice concept for your next illustration, then I know how stressful it can be. So just remember that the whole point to this is also to just have fun and to improve on yourself, and try not to compare yourself too much to the others, because you also don't know how often they're used to drawing with inks. We all have different levels. We also all have different styles, which is important to remember. And so we just all evolve at different paces, and that's completely fine. And finally, I thought that I'd also talk about my own experience with Inktober, because it's my video and I decide what I want to talk about on it, okay? So I've been doing Inktober since 2017, but I only managed to finish it once apart from this time, also this year, so grand total only twice. The other times I would really get just so overwhelmed by the amount of work and time that Inktober would consume, because I was doing it back in like middle school and high school, and I had quite some stuff to do. And last year I didn't finish it because I had art school, and turns out that I didn't have time either in art school, and it was just really too much for me. But it's still completely fine. It really allowed me to try to practice and try to get myself into a routine. Even though it didn't work, it managed for like 2 weeks, and it's better than nothing. So yeah, this year has been a lot easier since I don't have like this time restraint because I no longer have class and homework since I'm doing social media and videos full time. And that meant that I could basically modify my schedule as I wanted so that I could fit 1 or 2 Inktober drawings per day without a problem, really. I've even had days where I'd do 4 in a row so that I would get some advance, because usually what happened is that I would be too scared of not having the time to make Inktobers during the weekend. That did mean that I finished my Inktober challenge in advance, even though I did post online 1 drawing a day indeed, because I basically didn't want to have this unnecessary amount of anxiety around this challenge, and I didn't see the point of stressing myself out if I just wanted to draw more often and practice traditional art again. I didn't really either follow a prompt list because I find that there's a little bit too much restraints with them. And I find that the moment you say that you're going to do a specific prompt list, then your followers and people around are going to expect of you to do day by day that prompt list. And that's not something I'm a huge fan of. But I did get quite a lot of inspiration from a couple of different lists that I kind of just combined in my own way. This year, I also decided to make 1 TikTok a day of the said Inktobers because I really want to try and grow my audience, and TikTok seems to be the paradise place if you're a small business. And I'm glad to say that it's been working very great. But about that thing of the prompt lists, I've had like 3-4 comments saying, but that's not the prompt of today. Why are you drawing that? And I'm like, let me draw what I want, please. I'm not following any. And it's really this misconception that people think everybody have to follow the official prompt list. And I guess that people just get too worked up on the rules that you have to follow for Inktober when it is just a mindless challenge. Stop it. And for the art supplies that I've been using for this year, it's actually stuff that I've had laying around for years that I basically never use. And it was a bit of a struggle at the beginning because I really didn't know how they really worked. And I find that there's been quite a lot of evolution, especially with the brush pen, which I'm very proud of. Because that pen is my worst enemy, and it's been for years. Since it is so sensitive to the pressure, it's really hard to get the right line weight. I don't think I'm going to be doing Inktober next year fully traditionally and like only in black and white with inks, because I have to admit it was a huge restraint that I could only draw at home with my materials. And so I couldn't do it like on the go because it's too much of a hassle to have around the notebook, the inks, the palette, the brushes, the water container, etc. But I can really feel that there's been a lot of improvement, and that makes me very happy. And that's about it for all that I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if this little voiceover was a little bit rambly, but I hope you enjoyed the nicer audio quality and that you also enjoyed the drawings being sped up. Anyways, make sure to like this video if you liked it, comment down below your thoughts about this art challenge, and make sure to subscribe because I upload an art video every Monday. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye!